Okay.
All right. Welcome, friends, to The Great Transition, the place where you come to see how the wisdom of Kabbalah interfaces with the world. What's that all about? We have here in the United States two incredible friends who are visiting from Israel. Of course, you know Asaf, and drumroll, our special guest.
Special entrance. There we go.
All right,
Hello.
Leo. Hello, friends. So Raymond, Julie, Cointa, Annie, Carly, Avi, Sylvie, Carl, Elizabeth, Marina, David, Annie, hey, Patricia, Laser.
Laser.
Hey.
Oh, all right. So
Great number one fan.
Great to see everybody out there. So how is it that we can be on computers? How is it that we have clothes? How is it that we're sitting at a table? All these things, because from our degree, meaning as a human being, we can work with all the degrees that are below us. So we can take materials such as wood, or we can take silicone, or we can take all these different things and use them for our benefit. But how can a human actually know about himself? How can we know who we are? What's not just like, okay, I have 5 fingers, I can count that, I can see that here, but what is the purpose of our life? Where did we come from? What happens when we're not here anymore? What is the meaning of all this? In order to do that, we would have to, like the same way we can work on wood to make a table, from outside of the wood and above the wood, we would need to be outside of ourselves and above ourselves to be able to see who ourselves are, because otherwise we're just the table, we're just the matter inside. So lucky for us, the Kabbalists gave us a method. They reached it and wrote it down and passed it to their students, a method to actually rise above our material life, and then to as if look down into our material life and explain to us who we are from that vantage point. These books, we specifically are studying the method of Bala Sulam. Recently, we're studying again the study of the 10 Sefirot, where Bala Sulam is explaining from outside of the system, if you can imagine, writing about things that happened before the Big Bang, about who we are and what we're doing here. So this past weekend, these guys are in town because we were all in upstate New York at a Kabbalah retreat, where, if you can imagine, for those of you who are there, you don't have to imagine. For those of you who weren't there, imagine this, that you take a bunch of human beings who live on Earth, they all go to some summer camp together, and then they start studying themselves as if, trying on as if they're on those degrees that Bala Sulam and the Kabbalists write about, that's outside of we call it spiritual, which that word is thrown around a lot, but a degree that is above the degree of our matter. And from that degree to come into contact with a whole nother set of forces. For example, if you wanted to operate on wood, you would use certain tools. You wouldn't use a spoon. It's not the right tool, but you'd use a lathe, you'd use sandpaper, things like that. So when it comes to the human, also to us, to learn the tools and the forces in order to affect that eternal part of us. Guys, what can you say about first of all, welcome. Thank you.
Yes, we are very welcome.
What can we say about this experience that we just went through from the perspective of the goal of reaching that some part of us, some eternal part of us?
I think that every person needs to find a way to experience something like that in their lives. And you know what? You don't have to study what we're talking about necessarily, but any experiences that breaks you away from that automatic, egoistic, I have to fend for myself against the world, right, existence that we have. Experience something different, some other reality where it's possible to exist according to those different rules, more in harmony with nature. Something that will give you that gap, and then that gap, suddenly you have that experience and that experience. Now you have something to ask for, right? You have a deficiency. You have you can now plot a direction. Maybe if you're only stuck in yourself and they tell you, yeah, there's something like maybe there is, maybe there isn't, I don't know. But once you experience it, that's it. It's yours. Now you can start comparing, scrutinizing.
Once you experience
what happens at a 3-day Kabbalah retreat.
So what exactly happens?
I feel like it's almost like it's like we are, what we're doing there is like we're dealing with putting together the most cutting edge technology ever that humanity, is still like, it's still waiting to be revealed en masse. We're like a group of people creating that environment where we can put together this technology that works. And what it does is it elevates us, like Seth said. It kind of elevates every individual to a kind of a shared field from which you see your life differently and everything that's happening in the world differently. And you get a glimpse of the future, because we're dealing with a technology, a spiritual technology that sort of unlocks the path, even through, in a very cloudy way, still vague, yes, but you kind of see a glimpse of where humanity needs to go, where it's embedded in human evolution. It's like and you feel like, oh, it opens your eyes, it opens your heart, really, to kind of see that there's this embracing, all-encompassing reality that we're all being drawn to, and what we're experiencing here is just a fragment of what reality truly is. And that's the technology, is to open the sort of like the tunnel to get there. And that's kind of
and in even more practical terms, related a bit to what just happened this weekend, which we'll talk about, right? Yesterday, which we'll talk about in a second. I think to place yourself in the same space with other people who are not like you, different than you, they look different, they sound different, they have a different style of talking, have different opinions, maybe they vote differently. It doesn't matter, they're different. And you're able to create this level above the difference, and that's a skill that is has to be learned by everyone in this country, because what's happening now is the exact opposite of that. It's, if something doesn't fit within my worldview, I have to ignore him or suppress him or even eliminate him. That's the atmosphere that's being created right now.
Mm-hmm. Right. You want to say a word about what's just happened here in the U.S.? Yeah, go ahead.
There was a young guy, 31 years old. He's has traditional values, family values, conservative values, and his name's Charlie Kirk. He's been going around to college campuses and engaging in conversation without shouting, without criticizing people, speaking his views, these conservative views, and anyone can come up to the microphone and challenge him, ask him a question, and he would dialogue. He was just murdered yesterday. He was at a university in Utah doing one of these sessions, and he was shot. It's very jarring on many levels. It's jarring. First of all, we're at a situation where if you speak an opinion that in public that people don't like, you can get shot. I think that's the feeling that's in the air right now.
Reality. It's literally just happened, and I think this is very telling. And again, for us to discuss this objectively, let's say, it's really important for everyone to just leave your opinions for a second, leave your views. It doesn't matter if this person was from the left or from the right or from the middle. Here's an anecdote. We were just talking about, hey, maybe it'll be possible to start some sort of a meetup where we could, you, for example, just as an idea, you could sit there and invite some people online. Anyone who wants to will come, and pretty much like that situation outside the universities. So in some cafe or something like that, you would just talk to people about Baal Sulam. But then what happens if someone doesn't like what you say and decides to take your life because of that? Like
that's
how
first
crazy
right there.
This is this is very telling. The fact that humans can do this and it's become something you need to be aware of, be cautious of. That's very telling about.
Let me add a
Yeah.
layer of complexity on top of it.
Yeah.
So if there was I don't remember when it was, but this guy Orson Welles, he's an author, and he wrote a story about an alien attack on Earth, and they were playing it over the radio in the earlier days of radio in this country. And people who had their radio on actually thought that they were being attacked that there was an actual alien attack. People went through that experience. Oh my God, the aliens are attacking us now. In the same way, if you are receiving media all day long that's telling you that this guy is a Nazi, or that this guy wants to ruin your life, or that this guy is evil, and you're constantly fed that. For example, if someone gave you the opportunity to kill Hitler when he was 25 years old and nothing would have ever happened, so there's a lot of people who would take that opportunity because it's clear where this trajectory is going, or Stalin or someone, right? So
now when you paint someone that way, you're basically giving legitimacy for a lot of people to pick up a gun and go do something.
So right. So that's also another situation where first of all, we're at a situation. We have to say, so wait, we can't have different opinions in the public square. That's one thing to just say, if someone has a different opinion than me, I'm going to kill them. It's more complicated though. If people are brainwashed into thinking, or just convinced into thinking, and why would that be also, that there's people who are coming to take away all of their freedom, or coming to persecute them, or coming to take away all their rights. So that's another situation. Somebody might think they're a hero actually doing something like this. Complicates things.
Right.
Complicates things.
Quite
much more. Yeah. So
here's something that I don't know if we want to make this connection already, but we talked about the retreat we were just in, right? And here's the interesting thing: when you come to a Kabbalah retreat, you're going to meet people who have different views and different ideas and different culture and mentality, and they come from many different walks of life, age groups, even, like this, because this desire for spiritual discovery, this seeker point inside a person that draws a person to the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's really universal.
Right.
And what's interesting is we're not dealing in a Kabbalah retreat, of course, in political views and all that, but there's a methodology that regardless of what your views are, it helps you connect with, find that shared universal point that connects you with any other human being. And only from that vantage point, you can actually consider, how can we complement each other rather than let's just kill each other because we're different. Only from that vantage point, you can have the courage and the openness and the willingness to be together with someone different, with someone who's foreign potentially to your views, to your way of life, and so forth, because you feel what you can get that you can't get otherwise. You feel how that resistance and difference and tension actually helps create a higher, greater perspective on reality.
That's very that's very advanced science right there, physics of relationships. We are, and I'm saying specifically in this country. I lived here I live half my life here, half my life elsewhere in Israel, and this is a country that traditionally was always shying away from conflict. People did not like conflict, could not live with this sensation. They would just move, right? I don't know. I clash with my family. I move to another state. I get I don't like my boss. I travel halfway across the country. I get another job. Start life anew. This country gives the license to just go off as soon as things get uncomfortable. In Israel, we don't have it. There's nowhere to go. You have to see your in-laws,
nowhere to run,
and your family.
Like a little house with
everybody all the time.
House,
So it's almost like you have to deal with that. And I think now is that turning point. Charlie's organization's called Turning Point, right? We're at the turning point where people are suddenly the friction is in their face all the time, and we have to learn. We have to teach and also learn how to work with it. Otherwise, it's going to be bloodshed. Like the distance from this to the next and to some could be very, very short.
Yeah. So we also want to say, because when you start talking like this to people, to rational people, they would say, well, what about the murderers? What about what about this? What about this? We're not dealing with the fringe at the moment. What we're dealing with first are people who agree there has to be some better way to live together. That's the starting point. If for the people who, doesn't matter what background they are, doesn't matter what religion they are, if you have a feeling there's got to be a better way to do this. I can't live thinking that someone else is going to come and shoot me, or that I need to arm myself against someone else. That's the beginning point. And the fringes will be dealt with also through a natural process, that people on a more extreme. But first things first is everyone who's out there who says there's a problem. I'm not happy with the way my kids are being educated. I'm not happy with what I see in the news every day. And even if I don't agree, we have to find some kind of...
This is very tricky, because I feel like people have to all see the problem, and the problem being that which we don't know how to relate to someone who has different views. Not the problem is the problem is the liberals, the problem is the conservatives, no, those are not the problem. Those are expressions of our of the disagreement. We have to first more people have to see the problem for what it is. It's a relational problem, and it's rooted in the way I view the other, and then we can start to turn that diagnosis right into at least a common wish to change things, and that's already the beginning of something, right? You start to move the wheel. Then there's also actions, but first there's an inner change that has to happen. And I think that's the toughest thing right now, because everything is very incendiary. Everything can just ignite. You see what's happening in Europe, right? I mean, people don't like something, they just burn shit. Can you say shit? Yeah.
You can.
People burn shit all the time. I don't know. I'm seeing pictures from Paris and
Notre Dame, right?
Yeah, no, not just the threats. I mean, just people just like they're just agitated. Like just give them a reason to blow up. So there's that. We're like at the end of the fourth turning, as we talked about. So
Kabbalah in the peace article, he specifically says that the pain or the evil or the uncomfortability in the society grows and grows and grows until it reaches a point where people can't take it anymore, and then it spills out. It becomes a revolution, and then something new begins. And then what happens in the new thing? Again, the exact same thing until it reaches a boiling point. So what he's explaining to us in that article is not just sociological phenomenon or historical phenomenon. What he's explaining is the structure of reality. So are we destined then to go into a full-out civil war here? Are we destined to have thousands more assassinations here?
No.
Or is there another...
You're human. You can activate free choice, meaning you can make the effort inside of you. Animals don't have that, right? Like you have an earthquake here, I have to run there. I have a forest fire behind me, I have to run forward. Humans can see what's happening, what's developing between them. We can actually decide that we don't like what we're seeing. Again, not the other person's opposite views. I don't like the way we relate to each other. That's what's killing us. And I wish to change that. We need to have a more a clearer mutual wish for change. That's got to be the starting point. Otherwise, I'm just going to break, and breaking is not the way forward, but in and of itself.
I think education here is huge, of course, but what you get from Kabbalistic education, I think, is you understand, even if it's still hard and you can't, agree with immediately to work with another person who's different from you, but you understand that you get a feeling that you're part of a bigger thing, and those differences between us, they are the matter that creates a body. Just like in nature, just like in your body, there's opposite functions and opposite organs and conflicting things that complement each other, and that's what creates life. That's what creates nature.
That's right.
That's the harmony of nature. And between humans, these differences are put there for a reason, because we need to make a harmony out of that. Now, of course, that's very lofty and high and beautiful, but far from reality. When you start developing spiritually, you begin to feel that at least as your next state, and you begin to aim for it, and then the differences, the tension, the friction, everything just takes on a different spin.
Well, someone who has a spiritual desire is already, it's a different story.
Yeah,
right? So they have an inner readiness. The question is about,
can you educate
the masses? What do you do with the masses?
Exactly.
And Balsalam talks about that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says, well, the masses just have to give him some sort of, he calls it like a fear of God, right? Or give him some religion, which is interesting, considering what's been going on that front as well.
So when we get together, for example, at our retreat, we organize ourselves into something that's called a 10. It's a group of people, and what happens is we're trying to feel something that's outside of ourselves. In order to feel something that's outside of ourselves, if you study how any of our senses work, you see that there's these different forces that have to interact with each other, and then they project some, there's many processes that happen, and then they present some kind of reality to us. So I look at the world through these eyes, which I was given by my parents, and these ears, which I was given by my parents, and which my inner tendencies, which I received from my parents and grandparents and all that. And each one in the circle has that. And together we start to form something that's between us in kind of some magical, non-physical space between us. You can actually begin to sense something. Really interesting, the day we came home from the retreat, President Trump was standing with his Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and he said, or I guess Trump first said, we need everyone to pray.
Right.
And then the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development said, we want to get 1 million people to
read
go.
it. Read it.
You have it?
You got it?
I have it. Yeah. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah,
Sure, read it.
Okay.
For anyone who has any wisdom in Kabbalah, this is going to come as a big surprise.
As a very interesting
Not a surprise,
coincidence.
actually. If you study Kabbalah, it's not a surprise. You see how the system always works to move everything toward correction, but it's still surprising. He said this, think about this. What if 1 million people prayed for our country every single week between now and the next July 4th? What if believers all across this great nation got together with 10 people each week to pray for our country and our fellow citizens? Let that sink in. 1 million people every single week. Think about the miracles that would take place over the next year. Think about the transformation you and I could witness. Families coming back together, health being restored, financial needs being met, mountains being moved. Think about it. If 1 million of us every week got together, how many know that God is well able to do it? Amen.
Yeah. Now, okay. I mean, you hear that if you're a secular person, like.
Oh, they're
Like
trying
most
to
of
make
us.
me religious.
Yeah,
Yes.
immediately it sounds religious, and prayer, that concept of prayer, I don't believe in prayers and so on. But there's something here that's actually, it's an ancient human technology that we've lost touch
Wait,
with.
hold on.
Kind of,
But even
what is that?
no, but
Yeah.
even if you say, "Oh, I don't believe
Yeah.
in prayer," right now when Charlie was shot, right,
Mhm.
and there was those few hours where we didn't know what the story was, right, and everyone was like, praying for him, or even if you're not religious, you're like, "Oh, I really wish for him to
Right.
get well." What is that? Who do you wish it from?
Mhm.
What the universe, nature? You hope some doctor is going to make the right decision.
Why does nature put you in a situation where you want something and you
But you
are
can't
helped?
do it.
You can't do it on your own.
Yeah, you're helpless.
What is that situation?
That's the point.
That exactly.
And that I think a secular person, even the most secular person,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. It really, first of all, it's just a matter of how much pressure you put on a person, right? Because we're very
Yeah.
sensitive. But even without much pressure, we all wish for stuff all the time
Mhm.
that, you know you can't make happen, but somehow you wish for it to happen.
And
right?
it's
What is
built
that?
into the human psyche too. Again, that takes the most secular person in the most secular family. You'll still hear them every day. You know, I wish this would be like that. I wish this would be like that. We're all engaged just by being humans. We engage a big chunk of our life in praying,
raising a prayer, right?
in raising a prayer, but we don't really know how this thing works.
Yeah. Who do we ask
Who do we ask from?
What's the right word?
Exactly. Is it a matter of words, and how do you do it? And what's funny to us is you hear this this Trump and his
Secretary of
that department, talking about praying together on a regular basis in groups of 10, and that almost sounds like the what we do in the Kabbalistic methodology, which is really interesting. So maybe I don't know if we want to go deeper into that.
Yeah, how much?
Or,
let's first of all say that let's break it down so that it's accessible to everyone, and let's just start by saying that prayer is whatever desire is on your heart. So if you are hungry for lunch, let's say you're praying for lunch. It's a simple prayer, and it's an animalistic prayer because a fox and a horse have the same prayer as you around lunchtime. Everybody's praying for lunch.
A lot of times says tick praise.
Okay,
for its next meal.
Okay. Yeah. So if then we're now praying that our children will be successful, this is a little bit higher because the animals aren't thinking about that. They have some kind of instinctual thing about they're young, but they're not planning for their future, things like that. So that's, we could say, a higher prayer for us. Now we're talking to everybody here. You don't have to be religious. This is very agnostic of any kind of religion. The prayer is the desire of the heart.
Yeah.
Right? We're praying for food before lunchtime. That's what we want. Just like the animals. Now we're praying, let's say, for our children, or praying for that there won't be war or something like that. So this is a higher level of prayer that none of the monkeys or horses can do. But what if we start imagining something that is something that only a human being can think of?
That was I was about to say.
What if we start thinking about peace in the world?
Exactly.
What if we start thinking?
As long as it, on every level, still vegetative, animate, and even the lower degree of the speaking, the prayers come from the lower degrees, right? And they go up for the deficiencies of that degree, right? If I'm a plant, then I'm praying for, I'm projecting my desire for sunlight and for water. If I'm an animal, I'm projecting my desire for the well-being of my children and for the next meal, and so on and so forth. As a human, I'm also bound by these prayers as well, right? When I'm hungry, it's my body that's raising a prayer to me to find food, right? Okay. But that's still on the still vegetative animate degrees. We humans have free choice. We can choose to ask for something that's outside of us, not for me. And that's something that no other entity in this.
Oh, but you're making a big leap. Well, not for me. Let's first just go on the degrees of the prayer.
I'm making it actually simple. There's all the prayers that you can say are egoistic for the still vegetative animate and lower speaking degree, right, in this world. Those are all the same. Give me this, give me that, however you want to spin it, right? It's all egoistic prayer. And then there's the human prayer, the one that Kabbalists are speaking about. That's a prayer for someone else outside of you. That's the beginning of another level of praying, another level of wishing, something animals don't have, something humans by themselves don't have. They have to sort of, reveal a deficiency for it first.
Here's another way to put it. Maybe this is what if we look at the prayer as sort of the mechanism that nature put in so that you can move faster to your next level of evolution. So it's like nature's gonna take you anyway,
through a civil war here and then an uprising here, and it's long and it's painful.
Exactly.
And
and you're gonna have to advance to a more evolved form.
Right.
Of
We're not gonna nature's not gonna let us remain as monkeys forever.
Exactly. And just like it develops the planets and the whole universe for billions of years, and then for hundreds of millions of years, like the plants, and then for hundreds of thousands of years, the animal degree, and then humans, we exist for what? Like, let's say 150, maybe 200,000 years in our current form as Homo sapiens. And then, now we're approaching like another level of human development. We're globally interdependent. There's something that's happening in the 21st century in that respect. And nature's constantly pushing us, and we get into all kinds of difficult troubles and wars and problems and conflicts between us. But prayer is the mechanism that can take us faster to where we need to be anyways. If we look at prayer like that. So now you need to learn where you need to be and begin to use
Where
that
you are.
mechanism. Yeah, where you are, and begin to use the mechanism of prayer to take you there rather than
What does it
just harsh
That's
evolution.
that gap that we talked about.
What does it mean that prayer takes you to where
So
you want to be?
So, what if my parents want me to be something and I don't want to?
They want you to be a
Right.
doctor.
So they want me to be a doctor. And
Wait,
so on.
can you start?
Right.
Let's start on the
Yeah, okay,
Let's
let's
start
take
on
a
the animate level. Again,
Okay.
let's say you need to eat lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you are not stopping to eat lunch, right? Then your body will start to pray for you to raise this desired deficiency that, hey, I'm hungry, I need to eat, right? It's not the you messed up already. The body will push you to stop or bathroom. Take it. It's even more. It's a more urgent prayer, right?
Okay.
I gotta eliminate this stuff from within me. That right. So if you don't go to the bathroom at a certain time, you will be sent there by the prayer of the body. The body will sort of create a strong force that's moving you to where you need to go.
Okay, so relate that to the higher level.
So now the same thing exactly. What nature is moving a certain direction, and we know. I'm sure you guys talked about it in the show, right? We're moving from an egoistic operating system to an altruistic one, let's call it, right? And so nature is gradually pushing you, it's showing you the way you relate to each other. That egoistic way doesn't work in politics, in education, in trade, in all kinds in social interaction, in debate, and it's not working. And so it's going to push you to that place through some horrible examples or painful examples that will force you to stop, take notice, and then start to wish for a better way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Toward that next degree. But so you can run ahead of that cart. You don't have to wait for more people to get murdered. Because if everybody today stopped and said, you know what? Screw that. We don't want this cannot go on now. We decide that we don't want this to happen. We wish for a different way of relating to one another.
Even if enough people start praying for something, that's enough to make
if it's in the direction of
If
the
it's
system.
in the direction of where your parents want to take you anyway. So basically, this is why egoistic prayers don't work. Essentially, you can't just sit there and pray for yourself because you're not really going with where nature is developing you.
Nature is pushing you.
Okay, hey Patricia. Patricia's got a good question here.
Okay.
Can we train our body to do this kind of prayer? So you can train your body.
No.
Oh, okay.
Body is an animal.
Okay.
Finish your thought.
You can hold a gun to a person and say, "Tell me you love me," right? And you can get the mouth to say I love you.
What you said in the beginning.
But can you put the gun to someone and actually make them love you?
No. It's
right.
in the heart.
As
you said in the beginning, it's a work in the heart. Prayer is a work in the heart.
So it tied. I'm not sure how all of this is tying into should robots pray, but
we'll get to the robots. Hold on.
We'll get there.
There's something interesting here that we can get the robots, for example, or our bodies. You could get a person to learn how to fold clothes more efficiently and get the laundry done quicker. You can make a washing machine that also dries the clothes and does everything quicker. And then you can speed up a lot of biological or material processes, right? But we're then left with this extra piece, like Patricia, to your question, can we train our body? Can we train our body to coax us to pray for others? The thing is that this prayer, it's not on a body level,
right?
It's on a spiritual level.
I'll say something about it. There's in different traditions, you find this idea of penance, right? Of like pressuring the body, right? I will inflict some pain on the body and it will sort of like push me toward. But in Kabbalah, we don't do that. We also the ego is so coarse. It won't let you really do
or even if you do, you'll think that if you take on some kind of
penance,
mortifications, you'll think that you're so righteous.
Exactly. What we're trying to work on is a much finer work. It's a work of intention. It's a work of scrutiny. This is really the work. It's really asking yourself, what's going on? Where am I now? Do I see a place that's broken in that relationship to the other? And do I want to get beyond that to a higher place of connection, right? So what we do is we create environments that remind us to do that scrutiny, that make us more sensitive to the place of linkage. Because otherwise, the will to receive on the animate, vegetative, still vegetative animate, in the lower speaking degree, is want to keep praying for themselves. And you, the human, that little point, you have to connect with other points to make a stronger plea, compared to all this other noise that's happening. Plea in that direction that nature is taking us. So you can coax the body by putting it in an environment like the retreat, for example, where you give it food and it's nice and the music is good and everything is and in that environment, we're all also seeing, oh, this is the direction we need to go to. We want to go there. Let's agree to do it together, and so that's the work.
Right. Okay. Let's relate to this Garden of Eden. Our viewer, Garden of Eden, says, "Robots? Are you guys crazy?" And yeah, we should explain this.
Bring
this
the robots.
title.
Let's bring the robots.
Bring the robots in. Okay, so we are talking about prayer not as a ritual per se, not as something words you utter, not even as just wishing something would be better in your life. We're talking about prayer as a mechanism, as a technology that human beings have to discover. We haven't yet really understood what is that technology of prayer, which is a technology designed to take us faster to our next degree of development. That essentially what true prayer is from a Kabbalistic point of view, of course. Now, we are developing technologies, all kinds of technologies, and robots seems to be, one of those new things that will soon take over our lives.
Truly.
I mean, just like we have washing machines at home today, and everyone has a computer, and everyone has a vacuum cleaner or a clothes dryer or a Roomba or whatever. It's very, very likely that in a few years from now, it'll be just in every home, in most homes, you'll have a robot that's like doing all kinds of things. You teach it certain chores and it does them for you. It folds your clothes, does your laundry, all kinds of things, right? It'll just be a no-brainer to have it because the cost will come down and the abilities will go up and so on. And that's where it's going. And that, of course, has to do also with the rapid development of AI, which will power these robots and so on. So the question is, if these robots, if we can delegate everything we do to the robots, can we also delegate the prayer work to the robots? Any thoughts on that?
Yes,
gentlemen?
I was just checking with my robot here, and
if not, why?
Why? So, I think that like any good inanimate entity in this world, robots also will have their own prayer. Just like the AI has an interesting, if not entirely clear, way of wanting to get to an answer that will satisfy you, right? Has an algorithm that drives it in that direction, right? How do I get from all the information? How by elimination, I get to the thing that is probably most likely the answer that you need to get, right, to your question, and it wants to do it. That equals to pleasure to that thing, right? It can maintain itself in this way. So, but it's a very crude prayer, right? And it's based on the algorithm that you fed into it in the beginning. What we're talking about is something that happens inside your desire, the heart of a person, right? So as we said, we identify the current state. So robot can help you identify the current state. You can also point to what's broken. I'm sure you can train robots to notice all kind of breakages in relationships, right? So that's something that robots can help you do. It can help even maybe bring additional deficiencies to you, like, oh, your neighbors also are fighting, recently, and I also read in the news that this is happening. So it can help you see, like, oh shit, it's really bad. It's not just me and my small world, right? And then the next degree that the robot doesn't really have. You can tell it what it's like, what it's about, but even we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. we have a sense, a feeling for that harmonious state we want to live in, right? And that gap between that creates already the beginning of a prayer, right? So that gap is something you have to fill that gap, because there's a feeling there that's missing for the robot. So robot can't. I don't think robot can pray for you. It can remind you to pray. It can whip you into place, but
it's the big problem. You guys did yesterday the VR simulation, and the problem, when you do that, you put this headset on and your body starts to feel like you're in another world, like if you get enwrapped in some kind of music, and you start, emotions flood your body and you start to cry or something like that. We don't feel what an ideal state of humanity is, right? We talked about it before. If we imagined peace on earth, what does that mean? It means, well, first of all, I have a good bank account. Second of all, no one's coming to kill me, right? They're like, we can't even imagine that there's something more sublime or more higher than just really good car, really good relationship, really good stocked refrigerator, really good this, right? It's just everything that's material.
Or we think about the elimination of problems.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. Like, what's peace? In the eyes
it's
of
the world without these people.
It's the absence. that's at one level, and maybe at the highest level of defining peace today would be, for the average person, would be like the absence of conflict.
Yeah, the absence of war. Yeah.
Yeah, not war.
No conflict.
We're trading with each other. We live with each other. No one's killing each other on the street because they said a different opinion. That's peace. And we're talking about peace from a spiritual perspective. Peace, shalom, in Hebrew, the word means wholeness. It means you achieve a degree higher than the connection, than the sum of the parts.
Which means that the parts have to be connected.
Yes.
And all of them, meaning the conflict, the plus and the minus, all the sides have to.
Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is like the resolution of conflict. It's the purpose of conflict. It's the bringing the differences and making them complement each other to create a bigger thing.
Now, I don't know how much time we have, but I just want to throw another layer of complexity or simplification, depending on how you look at it. To answer the robot question, the answer is no, because there is no world outside of me. And that's the thing that we have to keep, we have to go back to, the perception of reality. We talk about a world where these people, those people, and I'm seeing this happening outside of me. And at the end of the day, it's you and some, upper force that's giving you all this picture. There is nothing outside of your personal experience. So it's not like, I have someone else pray. They're not the problem. You are your own problem and correction. That the issue is in you. You are broken. Your glasses are broken. The prayer is simply a way for you to communicate to nature that, I noticed now. I was able to focus on the glasses, not on the broken picture, but on the glasses, meaning my perception, the way I perceive the world. And this is broken, and I want you to help me fix that. So the robot has nothing to do with it, just like your neighbor has nothing to do with it. There is an element of prayer of many, but maybe we can go to that in another show. But at least understand that there's nothing outside of you that needs correction. Hence, no one else needs to do anything besides you. If you want to get very pure about this, all this theater is just so you would correct yourself.
Yeah. By the way, Vezi Bine here is saying, I wish that speaker would notice reactions in the chat. We are taking a look at the chat right now, and yes, there's a bunch of reactions there. Thank you for that. And also a bunch of people from all over, actually.
So
that's great.
Scan the chat a little bit. Let's get.
Yes. First of all, we have friends here from Kentucky and Utah and California and Alabama and North Carolina.
Oh, Hayes. What's up,
Canada,
Hayes?
The Netherlands, Pittsburgh, and Toronto and Brooklyn and
Mexico.
Yeah.
Persia. Hi, Ali in Persia.
Ali from Persia. All right. So first of all, that's great that you're with us. We're always amazed by how the distribution of the people that listen to this podcast. So that's great. Ohio is here as well. Hey, Patricia. So Yeah, there's all kinds of thoughts here from Boo, and Hayes at some point asked if there's a Buddhist robot. I don't know what to say.
Won't do you
to
any
that.
good, brother. One more thing about it, all that stuff, the AI, the robot. This is simply a projection of us.
Yeah.
We are trying to project some sort of a new state. So we do it using these things. This artificial intelligence is really the virtual expression of our connection, but it's not the thing itself. It's simply an expression on this world, on the level of this world.
You started going deeper into perception of reality. I want to say something about that. What Kabbalah helps you do is relate to your life, the world, everything you experience around you as yours. It's not random. It's not purposeless. It is the way in which nature is developing you, your life and the world and the weather and what you see on the news and everything. You're in a dialogue with a force of development that is trying to show you something, trying to develop you. And what's prayer in this context? It means that you're constantly attentive, perceptive, and sensitive to how all the things you experience in the world, in your closest circle, in your family, at work, all of those are like words that are being uttered to your heart, trying to show you what to pray for. So when you see conflict, when you see problems, when you see disparity and difficult things like what just happened today here yesterday in this country, when you see all of that, you should identify it as pieces of you, layers of you that are undergoing some sort of a correction, some sort of a calibration.
I will say even more. The flip side of what Joseph just said is, if you think about it, this is a bit jarring, but if you think about it, the world that you see today, every aspect of reality that you see today, the good and the bad and all of it, is really an expression of our egoistic prayers. This is the world that we're all praying for. Oh, I wish this person wasn't there. I wish this was different. I wish this was. It's always we selfishly trying to to cut down the things that stand out or to fill the holes, whatever, according to our egoistic perception. And you see how those things just bring about a constant conflict. That's not the way out, so to speak.
Right, and who are those other people?
Your desires.
They're yours. We're all pieces of one collective entity, and that entity it's holistic. It's not even a collective entity. It's like it's called 10 sfirot at the end of the day. It's a spiritual. That's the structure of any spiritual unit. So every one of us experiences that spiritual entity. If you want to throw some Kabbalistic terminology, it's like the collective malchut of Ein Sof, the collective soul, if you want to call it like that. And we're each seeing it from a unique perspective, but it belongs to each of us.
It's the same.
Just the same way. We are the same one entity. Just each one has a unique perspective on it. And we all need to pray for that collective entity, and not for like what my piece in it to try to like
my view of it.
Exactly. We all need to pray for the well-being and the health and peace in that organism or this collective spiritual entity. That is what Kabbalah helps you discover, practice, play with, feel with other people. And you don't need millions of people. You need a group of people. That's what we call a 10 in the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is why, again, this is so kind of interesting to see this.
You must be studying biblical sources or something.
Right, because the biblical sources are referring to that experience of a 10, except that, who knows how to interpret biblical sources in a truthful way, in a spiritual way.
Not the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
Right.
But he had a good inclination.
Yeah. Yes.
L'chaim to that.
And l'chaim to
the Housing Secretary.
There are clues. Listen.
To the clues that
if you listen, there's a lot of clues in the right direction.
Yeah.
When we build a puzzle, when you put a puzzle together, whenever we have like a lot of family together, we always do a puzzle because then all the ages can do something together. I don't know if you guys do the same thing, same strategy, but you put the edge pieces together first, right?
Of course.
And then you try and put all the blues together and all the reds together. If you're just taking each piece, one piece at a time, and trying to build a puzzle like that, it's a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah.
But if you can sort out all the edges, now there's only 4 corner pieces. That's a good place to start, right? And if you separate all the colors, now you have something to work with. And for everybody that's here, that this seems like so, I'm going to pray for peace, and where's the reaction to that?
Mm-hmm.
It's also step by step. First things first, let's just understand how okay, we have a puzzle. This is what it's supposed to look like. What we're talking about.
And it's broken. Yeah.
We're talking about a final picture where all of humanity, regardless of the religion, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of any of those differences, everyone comes together in one kind of harmony. That's the final picture of the puzzle that we're talking about. So if you can even comprehend, it sounds absurd to almost everybody today to actually comprehend that, right? These guys, in order to win, we have to kill those guys. And these guys, in order to win, we have to kill those guys. Or this guy, forget about killing. I'm just out of here. I'm moving to Costa Rica. I can't deal with this, right? He doesn't realize the mess is going to come to Costa Rica in a short period of time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere to run anymore. That's the final picture. Now, the next thing. So how am I going to go about doing it? Well, it's not going to happen in just 1 second. You're not going to just start thinking, oh, God, please give me world peace, although it's a good start. But the same way with the puzzle, start putting some parameters on. Okay, so this is my physical life. Here is this sublime goal that I'm talking about, right? And I start organizing things. And now I find other people who also want to do the same thing with me. And we start doing it together. And now you'll start to see, it's called your soul will teach you. Once you start actually forming the pipeline, the upper juice, the upper light will start to flow through it, and you'll start to feel, understand what's happening and how to take your next move towards putting this beautiful picture together. Because everybody, if we don't, the alternative is war. Is civil war, and even bigger, maybe even nuclear wars, until 10,000 people left on Earth say, I think we should probably get along. I think that'd probably be a good option. Yeah.
It's I think in very practical terms, I think what we're asking people to do, and what is asked of us as well, is to try to move from those generic terms, certainly from our typical automatic egoistic form of prayer, and try to identify places in my everyday life, right? Those moments where I detect the thing that is broken, that is preventing me from feeling this state of wholeness, and maybe ask on that. Start small, identify points of breakage in the connection with other people. Maybe first with the people who are close to you, then slightly expand the circle. Start looking at that, identifying those places, and asking about those places. Not that I wish that the other would disappear or change his mind or say something that I like to hear, but that I will have this new feeling toward that person, feeling of love, like it's my child. Today saying this, tomorrow saying that. I love him no matter what. Pray for that. I think we'll see something really big happening.
All right. Quote.
Something?
Yeah, I got a quote from Rabash, our teacher's teacher. And this is about what we call in Kabbalah the prayer of many, which is really the only kind of prayer that actually works. And it's right in line with what we just discussed. So he says this: the prayer of many is called a time of will, when one's prayer is accepted. And the prayer of many refers to the Malchut, which is called the many because it includes within it all the souls. So that's where we have to aim for, I guess. All right.
So we'll be back
Yes.
next week. These guys will be back in the Middle East. I'll still be in I'll still be in Jersey, and thank you, everybody. We will catch up on all of your comments here. We love to read them. If you have notes for us, topics, please post. We'll check them out, and we'll see y'all next time, next Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Like a child, you lift me. You show me the way. Every voice in harmony. Together we pray. Try to rise above reason and hold on to your name. Finding love in the seasons without loving in vain. With one heart and one soul, with one desire, one goal, with one voice, one song, with one solution. Oh,